with an online platform as well for sharing the positive stories on business which work as an agent for world benefit. This whole initiative has been championed by the Weatherhead School of Management at Case Western Reserve University in Ohio, USA. We welcome you to the interview, and we hope that we get to learn a lot from you. So, sir, I'll be starting with the first question. So, it's a very basic question. So, can you please tell us what inspired you to start GreenTree Global?
Sure. Thank you, Amitav. I think in terms of the starting up the organization, I started my career with Siemens, and it was a power sector, primarily the CHP plant design and substation design. Then I moved to USAID in terms of energy efficiency and buildings as a policy assistance program to Bureau of Energy Efficiency, which is the regulatory agency from Ministry of Power in India. And that is how I got to know about the prospective opportunities in this domain, which has pretty much like energy efficiency and climate change. So, and we thought of starting up the career in this domain, and that is how we started GreenTree along with one of my partner, Dhruv Jain, in 2009. And so far, we have been working in this domain for last 12 years.
Thank you, sir. That really let us understand how you got inspired. Sir, leading question: what is the purpose of the business? Can you shed some lights on the principles and go on the goals of the organization as a whole?
I think when you say purpose of the business, certainly we did select energy efficiency and climate change as a domain, as a selective domain in 2009. And at that point of time, that domain was very much like at a nascent stage. And that is how it was a risk also for our career at that point of time. But we thought that all the activities which we are doing are certainly new and they are quite exciting as well. So again, there is always a risk, but when the players are less in number, then maybe I think opportunities can be more. So it was basically a thought, and we thought to start on this particular basis. And so far, let's say, in terms of the activities that we have envisaged at that point of time, so we have had three verticals, and we started with first vertical, which was into uh, let's say energy efficiency implementation side. So we started working with the government in terms of the tool development with respect to the private sector in terms of and green building certification, energy efficiency assessment for the industries and also for the government sector. And that is how the first vertical started shaping up in 2010 11. And then onward we started another vertical to another vertical. So now we have a three verticals distinct, and we take care of them pretty much like well with respect to the shared responsibilities among the vertical heads. And so the domain is energy efficiency and climate change, and all the verticals are let's say around this domain itself. And if we say the name of these vertical, they are pretty much like implementation side for the private and government sector, research side for the state government, central government, and also for the funding agencies. And for the education side, so we have a GT Academy as a third vertical, which is into sustainability education side. And you also have mentioned the principle and the goals. So I would say the principle is always like doing the quality of research, maybe I think actual groundwork implementation, which is again a very valuable activities that we look at in the market. And the third principle is bridging the gap, because we also see that in terms of the education itself, that corporates they look for bright students who have an understanding in terms of sustainability or energy efficiency and climate change. But in general, either the curriculum has some limitations, or the students, they also do not have enough understanding of the sector. And this gap has been there for last, I think, 1 decade. And we are thinking that this bridge the gap as a principle is also helping us a lot in terms of building the GT Academy vertical. And the goal is certainly build GreenTree as a clean tech firm. And we have a lot of diversified domain, and we believe that this goal can be achieved.
Thank you, sir. So, just a question from my side as well. So, you talked about the education sector and something like working on the gap that is in the education system in terms of the
Hmm.
sustainable side of the business. So, is there specific that you would add to the curriculum of the students that would help them understand that how the system is changing and what are the changing needs of the business side so that the world survives for a better tomorrow?
So in terms of, let's say, if you look at the education initiative of ours, this is named as GT Academy. And the target is the student from the second tier or third tier cities, colleges or institutions. And also for the professionals who are working in the different domains, and they want to build the career in the sustainability domain. So both students and the professionals, both are our target customers as of now for this vertical. And you mentioned the curriculum component. So I think we did one sort of, let's say, the survey long back in 2010, and we did find almost maybe, I think, all the second tier or third tier cities or third tier education institutions, they do not have maybe, I think, enough resources or the infrastructure in terms of teaching the students about the sustainability. When we say sustainability, it is not only about the RE, or it is no, not only about the solar PV panel design and etc. But it is it is including almost like a lot of information with respect to what is going on in the sustainability domain. And that is where we see certainly the requirement of the curriculum enhancement is one. Second, we need to have the resources in terms of the faculty. They also need to be trained well with respect to what is the requirement in the market with respect to the sustainability. And the third is certainly, I think, there's a lot of information available online, and the students, they themselves have a lot of access from the online collateral, and they can always move forward, and they can build their career in this domain as well.
Thank you, sir. That certainly seems like a complete roadmap of how to include sustainability in terms of the education curriculum as well. Sir, when we talked about the principles, it came across as profit with sustainability. That can be interpreted as one of the key goals of Green Tea. So, how do you think the business model of Green Tea Global helps achieve it to the corporations?
So Amitav, I think we started this company with a seed fund in 2009, and the fund was given by USAID in terms of energy efficiency tool development. So it was a compliance tool which um, w- was supposed to assist the implementation of the energy efficiency policies in the private and the government sector. But we also realized that only tool development in energy efficiency domain in 2009 is not good enough. So we had to change the course, and that is what I think my suggestion is in terms of that the business has to be flexible. and we did pivot our business at the right time. And that is how I think we also maybe I think I would say that we took off from tool development to service component for the different segments, private and government sector. And that is how we also diversified from service sector to product and solution segment, and certainly from there to let's say education segment. So with diversification inclusion in the business, we also believe that the business has a lot of ups and downs so far in last 12 years. But maybe I think the diversified but revolving around the energy efficiency or climate change as a domain helped us a lot in terms of not only in terms of sustaining in this turbulent market, but also it has also given us a lot of growth in terms of the revenue or the visibility in this market so far.
Thank you, sir. That was quite understandable of how the business model works. Sir, the Global, the work follows UN Sustainable Development Goals like UN SDG 9, Industry Innovation and Infrastructure, 13, Climate Action, and others. So, how do you focus on all these SDGs in a project, or are they single project specific?
I think this is a very pertinent question, Amitav, and team. So I think in total, if we include every vertical that we are into, we cover maybe I think 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 11, 13, and 17 SDG goals so far. And we believe that there is enough diversity which is required also in terms of the offerings. But maybe I think the clear focus vertical serving to different segments and different set of portfolios, we are able to deliver with respect to the required quality so far. So maybe I think you have to have the structure, and maybe I think the good governance model where the vertical heads are responsible to deliver as per the client requirement, even if the requirements are coming with a different maybe I think with the different nature. I think we have been able to deliver so far with this structure as of now.
Um, Thank you, sir. So, while talking about principles and goals, you shared some instances of ups and downs and the market being a bit turbulent. Can you please share with us what are the challenges that GreenTree Global has faced so far?
Yes, I think there have been a lot of challenges. Because when you anticipate that the market will grow in this direction, because this is not a simple trading business where you have a market ready and then you need to procure something and supply to the demanding customer. It is some certainly more like you have to envisage that the market will move with lot of let's say anticipations, with lot of understanding, and sometimes it works as what you plan, sometimes it doesn't as well. So maybe I think a couple of things that I would like to highlight, that in 2009 we anticipated that the compliances with respect to the sustainability will be more like mandatory. And so far have seen that the government push has never been mandatory. It has always been from the receptiveness side. They have been expecting people to adopt rather than pushing them to adopt a certain let's say SDG goal or the sustainability implementation. So that is the policy requirements, or the policy which is current, or maybe I think based on the future. It also defines your business line or the growth model also. The second, as I said, that government's push has always been there with respect to how people, or in terms of the demand side is expecting, or maybe I think receiving to such requirements. So I think awareness has always been an issue in this domain, because this is not something which is the most priority activity for the people. You would require the electricity, but energy efficiency is one thing which is always secondary. You would always require the light, but it is coming from either the clean source, or maybe from the fossil fuel based source. It is not everybody's concern. So I think it is all about the awareness also that we see, and people's mindset. The moment we see people demanding for such clean sources of energy, they start working with respect to the energy efficiency or climate change, as a as a human being, as a requirement. I'm sure like things will be moving very, very fast in this domain. And we are seeing a lot of variations, a lot of differences for last 10 years. Maybe I think in the starting of our business it was very, very nascent. We were certainly struggling a lot, but I think uh, uh, the way business is growing, or the things are changing in the overall world scenario, we see that there is a prospective opportunities which will be very, very much with respect to what we are operating in terms of domain. So I think these are, I think, couple of challenges: maybe policy push, or the policy at the right time, and the awareness or the mindset issue among the people.
Thank you, sir. That gave us an idea of what are the challenges that GreenTree Global faced, and there seems to be light at the end of the tunnel. Now, I would like to request Bharat Khola to continue with the rest of the interview.
Thank you, Amitabh, for that, and thank you, sir, for all the answers. We can see the journey that Green Tree Global has transpired so far and where it's headed. So my next question would be in a way linked to what the company wants to do. Uh, how do you plan to expand the business, keeping in mind the target of being a clean tech firm by 2025? How do you plan to achieve it, and how do you plan to reach that goal?
Okay, Bharat. So I think it's a good question, and there is no such direct answer, because you have to plan it, and certainly you have to change your plan as per different uh, uh, maybe I think set of external or internal elements. But as an organization, I think we have been very clear since beginning, and for any given point of time we did spend a lot of money in terms of understanding what is going to be the next domain, or what would be the next product or the solution or the service which can be maybe I think which can be the in the demand. So I think an average, we always have the principal agreement among the directors, that we will be always investing almost like 10% of the total revenue in the research activities. And that is how I think we feel that this is a way to build your understanding and knowledge. You can always have the existing client, you have the existing clientele, you have the delivery team. You can always keep supplying the solutions or the products or the services to them. But I think someone also has to have the vision in terms of uh, looking at the future. And that is where we see the research component has been helping us a lot. So we, whatever the pivots that we have introduced in the business, I think they are the result of it. We did work on the products like smart meters. We have had the maybe manufacturing plants in terms of developing or manufacturing those meters. And then we brought the manufacturing down to the contract manufacturing side. So a lot of, let's say, the changes that are required in terms of the business. And sometimes you always see that you started something with the, maybe I think very less uh, uh, understanding, but I think on going forward you can always build the product or the business with a lot of understanding through the research activities or through the collaborative activities in the market, because it's not that you have to do the research on your own every time, but maybe I think you can collaborate and you can get to learn from someone who has already done a lot of research. So I think the openness and flexibility has always been there in the business, and it helped us a lot in terms of rowing us through. And this is also we want to continue, so in terms of going forward. And that is also, we feel that some of the specific areas which will help us in terms of becoming the clean tech firm by 2025. I think the only thing we are looking at is the new areas in terms of renewable energy, in terms of energy efficiency materials, new equipment which are related to air quality, which are related to let's say the low carbon mechanism. So all these things, they are important, and there is a lot of research which is required for an Indian firm to get into these domains so far.
Thank you, sir. I think knowing that 10% of revenue is being spent on research and development is a key element which helps any organization, and how I think Siemens has is an advisor. Mr. Chug from Siemens is an advisor for the firm, and Siemens seems to be a core collaborator with the GreenTree Global. And I think Siemens is also working towards automizing most of its digital grid elements, getting into
Yeah.
smart metering. And I think that element would help overall the economy and the energy efficiency that we are looking for. My next question links to that, how the spend is there. With increased spend and focus on green energy by both government and private organizations, how do you think GreenTree Global can cater to the expanded business outlook?
So I think recently our honorable Prime Minister he has also let's say declared that by 2070 the India will become the carbon neutral nation, and it's a big commitment. And I trust and I believe as an organization that it's a Herculean task, considering the diversity that we have here in India. And that is where we see that organizations like ours also have a lot of responsibilities, because we also see there is a great potential of a new market, new verticals, new product solutions, or the services they could be demanded in due course of time with respect to shaping up this vision of our Prime Minister. And we see that we need to do a lot of, let's say, the capacity building activities for our team, for our new members of the team, and maybe I think the new verticals which are required to get developed. And we are working on those new verticals as well with respect to the material, low carbon technologies. And I believe that this is something that we are trying to get into in terms of getting our business ahead with these new changes or prospective business opportunities.
Understood. So the target of being carbon neutral by 2070, as you mentioned, is a Herculean task, and I hope India achieves it sooner, not later after 2070. So my next question is, for every organization to grow, they have to create a footprint in the market, and for that they have to set certain benchmark in the projects that they have executed. So any significant projects that you are proud of and which showcased the innovation and excellence of GreenTree Global?
Okay. So I think I think we have a distinct three verticals. So I'll take maybe I think one example from one vertical. So from the energy efficiency and climate change advisory vertical, we would like to highlight the EV adoption model. So we are working on the electric vehicle adoption model for a municipality called Kakinada in Andhra Pradesh, and that is again we see a lot of uh, maybe I think the challenge and opportunities both together. And in this case, the adoption with respect to the retrofit of the existing fossil fuel based vehicle to new procurement from the government side, and certainly, as I said, that's not only the supply but also the demand should also need to be developed well, and that is where the project that we are working with Kakinada as a smart city project. So this is where we also work with different stakeholders like students, entrepreneur, automotive workforce, and also from the government side professionals in terms of building their capacities, that when there is be procurement or retrofit of the existing vehicles will happen, what will be their response, how they'll be responding to the market demand. And that is something that we are proud of about this project. And this is under first vertical. And the second vertical, which is the implementation of let's say energy efficiency or green building certification or integrated green building design. This is where I think there are but a couple of projects that I can highlight. That one is Nalanda University project, and which is going for, let's say, net zero energy, net zero water, or net zero waste. And the second project that I can highlight is a carbon neutral city development in Udaipur. And this is again one of the most forward looking project that we are doing. And I believe that whenever there is a new kind of project, there is a challenge also, but it gives us a lot of learning opportunities, and we believe that this always keeps you ahead in the market. The third vertical, which is the sustainability education, we have a GT Academy as a solution. It's an online self-paced learning module where maybe I think students or professionals, they can come, they can look at the online courses, they can buy it, they can run them as per their requirement, and they also help them in terms of getting them placed to the respective corporate or the organizations which require the professionals or the students who have specific understanding of the knowledge about the sustainability or the climate change as a domain. So these are, let's say, the three specific projects or the specific highlights from our three verticals, which you have mentioned as a showcase uh, activities.
Thank you, sir, for that. I think knowing about how the projects as well as the training is helping create a better world uh, in a way helps the whole generation that's going to come sooner. My next question, sir, is in a way for all the GIM students. How can we school students lend a helping hand to this developing ecosystem, which is creating a better world, a sustainable world for future generations to come?
I think from a third party perspective or with respect to our experience uh, of interacting with college students, either from technical institutes or from the management institutes, I think mm, I put my recommendations in three steps. The first is maybe I think you need to work in terms of what is the market requirement. So as of now, as you are uh, doing this interview, I'm sure like this is again the unique activities or initiatives from your college or from your side in terms of understand what an entrepreneur who has been running the firm in this domain, what are the challenges, and you certainly will have a lot of learnings. And I will also say that there are a lot of opportunities from the corporate side, so you need to understand the requirements, what kind of roles and responsibilities that they want the students to perform when they hire them. And that is my first suggestion. The second is they always, like, say, when you are studying in a management institute, either you have come from a technical background or non-technical background, you always need to specify your interest or passion with respect to which domain that will be more suitable to your career ahead. So you need to build yourself with the domain knowledge, because this will always help you in terms of getting placed uh, uh, with your specific, maybe I think your desired domain or desired organization. And for that, you have to be very selective in terms of where you are going to do the internship, whether you are going to have any specific online courses, because I think this is a good time for the students where there is a lot of information available online. So you must look at what is available, what how the market is growing, and how to build your understanding and knowledge with the specific domain knowledge or the requirement. I think this is something which is very much important. It's always helpful for the students in terms of responding to the interviewer, and impress them as well. The third point, I think, is the most important point, I would say, is a soft skill development. In most of the cases, when we as an organization go for the, maybe I think, college campus recruitment, or maybe I think from the CV basis, HR selects them, and there's always a challenge that we see, that maybe you will always have the best student or professional who is good at the technical know-how, but a lot of, let's say, the soft skill issues that we always notice, and this becomes the first challenge in terms of getting them into our organization. So this is from our experience, that I would say that the college students or the colleges, they always need to look at building the capacities of the student in terms of the soft skills. So maybe I think when we say soft skills, the writing skill or the communication skill, prepare them well for the interview. It's always an important aspect. So I think the third point, soft skill, that is from my perspective, is always neglected and is being avoided in most of the cases, at least in the curriculum component point of view. I would like to highlight, and in case if you could just bridge this gap, this will always be very helpful for the students in terms of getting them placed and in their overall development with respect to the newer opportunities, I would say.
Thank you, sir. I think you touched upon all the key areas that a MBA graduate should work on, be it soft skills, be it knowledge or skill development, and the goals that they have for growing towards a future that they want for themselves and the country. With that, sir, I would like to thank you for giving us your time for this interview. We got information about how the organization functions and how the future outlook is. We would work on the article and then share it with you for further feedback if you have.
Thank you so much, Bharat and Amitav, Anish, Anirudh, and Anirudh Singh. So I think it was quite interesting, but maybe I think we can have apart from the discussion, in case if you have any other question, I'll be very happy to share my experience with you all.
Anirudh, can we stop the recording maybe? I think we are done with the aim to flourish.